Hi, I'm David Steinberger. I'm President and CEO of the Perseus Books Group. So I see a very big impact for independent publishers, and one of the things that we see coming is a lowering of the barriers between the creator of the content, the publisher of the content, and the consumer. Lower the barriers to marketing, lower the barriers to selling. You know, when you think about when Amazon first arrived on the scene many years ago, when I looked at those sales reports that came from Amazon, the first week of sales, the thing that was most striking was it was an extremely long list of books, one copy sold of each, and many of them I didn't even know we were publishing. That's how different the list looked like. And if you talk to Jeff Bezos, because I've heard him interviewed on this point, he'll say, I picked books because it's the perfect product for the internet. That's why I picked it as the first product, because of the incredibly vast number of individual products or SKUs. And what we see now, if you flash forward 10 years later, is the power that when it comes to online book selling, I think you're going to see even a bigger impact when it comes to digital book selling, because all of the constraints, all the logistical constraints in terms of getting a book that's of interest to a targeted market to reach that consumer are evaporating because of digital. So I see it as a huge opportunity for independent publishers, and it's one of the reasons we launched Constellation, which is the service for digital, the digital service for independent publishers. I think one of the things we're going to see over the next year is social media really come to the book publishing industry. And I don't think we've seen the ultimate social media model for books or anything even close to it. And one of the things people keep talking about is the issue of how do you discover a book that you weren't planning to purchase in a digital world, where you used to walk down a aisle of a bookstore and stumble on a book that you didn't anticipate. And while physical bookstores are still very significant and will always be significant, that is, I think, a real question, and I think social media is part of the answer. But to me, even if there is no complete breakthrough on the marketing side, you're still going to see big sales increases just by removing the distribution barriers. You know, a book like Tom Clancy novel or John Grisham novel, the benefit in terms of sales there, I question how great it will ever be, because those books were always available in every supermarket, on every newsstand. You could find those books everywhere. A more targeted book, a book like The Abacus and the Cross, which we published from Basic Books and which I'm reading now on my iPad, that book has an audience out there that's interested in it, but they couldn't necessarily find it easily. It wasn't on the front table at Barnes & Noble. It wasn't in the supermarket. It's not at the newsstand. It's not at the airport store. You know, it has a more targeted audience. That audience, when they read a review, when they hear someone talking about it, when they see someone blogging about it, will be able to find that book now, because what we're seeing is the proliferation of points of distribution. People are carrying around bookstores in their back pocket now. I think a lot of publishers felt that that when as things go digital, it's going to get a lot easier to handle marketing, sales, and distribution. And the reality is that's not the case. In fact, if anything, it's gotten more complicated. And what we've seen with Constellation is more and more publishers, independent publishers of size, who initially tried handling all of that on their own, coming back to us and saying, look, we're really an expert in developing great content, working with an author, selecting an author in a topic, and trying to create demand for that author. But all of the logistics of handling all these different digital platforms and all the different digital reporting requirements and all the different information management requirements are really overwhelming and distracting. And the question for independent publishers is, what are you going to be world-class at? Are you going to try to be world-class at developing content and creating demand for it? Or are you going to try to be world-class at the digital infrastructure? And the conversation we've been having, which has been going well, I just had lunch with Ellen Adler from the New Press, which is a client of ours, And she said to me, it's such a relief that I can focus on what I'm publishing, and I know that the digital, all the digital distribution and all the challenges and issues there are being taken care of. Yes, I think it's a really good question, the question of how do you make decisions and how do you know what to focus on. And it's interesting, you always have to go back to your mission. What's your mission in life? For us, our mission is to enable independent publishers to reach their potential. Whether those are in-house publishers that we have an ownership interest in, joint venture, or completely owned by a third party that is a client of ours. And my experience is if you really listen to the independent publisher, you really listen, that will lead you to the answer about where you should be focusing your energy. The whole concept of Constellation came out of hearing from independent publishers years ago. We're going back 3 years really. I'm finding this digital stuff kind of overwhelming. It's worrying me. I need some guidance. At that time we were a brick and mortar warehouse type distributor. Yeah. We've become the leader in this area by listening to what publishers say they want. And that's, I think, the best guidance is for us is what's the mission and stick to that mission. In our case, it's listen to the independent publishers because that's what we're all about.